Hello, my friends and dear listeners. I'm so excited you're here. I released this two-part episode about my fertility journey, and I have just gotten so many new listeners, so many new faces, returning listeners coming in, just so many incredible messages. First of all, thank you so much for your outpour of love and well wishes and advice that really worked for you. It's been so heartening. And two, I just want to reintroduce myself in case you're new around here or anything like that. My name is Karolina Rzadkowska. The way my name is spelled, sometimes people think it might be pronounced Carolina, but it's not. It's Karolina, just so we're all clear. I have a crazy Polish last name, and Euphorica Podcast is a show that I've been running, oh my God, ever since 2018. And this show really started as a birth to kind of document how I completely got freedom from alcohol and just lost my craving. And as I've continued my journey as an entrepreneur and as a coach, it really morphed into this beautiful space where we get to talk about all the topics for people who want to make alcohol a really small part of their life, for people who I already identify as alcohol free, for women who don't drink, and who have such a big mission, such a big purpose in their heart, who are entrepreneurs, who are visionaries, who want to do something big with this planet. And it's this beautiful mix of topics that really is able to harness the mission that we have here, but recognizing that it comes with letting go of something that doesn't serve us. And I think there's so many personal development podcasts out there. There's so many entrepreneurship podcasts out there, but none are really have this undercurrent of what does it mean to be a successful woman who doesn't drink? What does that mean in the world? And how do you show up in the world? And it's a little different, right? Because I think there's so much more nuance to it. And there's also so much more power to it, because you don't become a successful woman who doesn't drink. You don't leave behind alcohol in the first place unless you have a big purpose and a big mission. And a lot of times we don't know that until we actually do it. And then when we do it, it's like, oh, that's why the universe had me, rethink this and stop drinking and go sober curious and all that kind of stuff. And this is the show that really brings all those topics together, whether you're growing a business, whether you're alcohol free, sober curious, and all of the beautiful interplay with that. And it's been so cool to just be able to share my journey as I've been building such a big vision. I am a best-selling author. I have been on multiple stages. I travel around the world. Usually we go to 13 countries a year. And I used to be working in a cubicle. And I used to think that drinking was the highlight of my week. So the way that my life has transformed on this journey has been just so remarkable. And today I wanted to bring a topic that's also been really close to my heart recently and kind of just share my thoughts on it recently with you. And that is going to be money and wealth. And it's going to be an interesting view on it. It's not a traditional view on what you would hear on a money mindset podcast. I've definitely covered wealth before, especially money mindset for alcohol-free women. You want to go back. I think I'm not sure what episode it is, but it'll be in the show notes by the time I'm done recording. But I kind of wanted to do a different spin today of what does wealth really feel like? And how can we feel wealthy today, no matter what's actually in our bank accounts? Now, I'm not gonna lie, I have a very rocky story with money in the sense that I've never felt like I've arrived. It's never felt like, oh, I used to feel scarcity and now I only feel abundance all the time. I won't say that for sure. There's still these moments where my past patterns, my past analytical beliefs, the past, things that happen in my family lineage and history do come up and do trip me up. But it's been such a cool journey as I've watched my story with money change over the years and what it really means to be wealthy. And this is something I'm really, really leaning into, because it's with money and almost a lot of big goals that we have that are really overarching. Money is this thing that we might not ever feel happy with the amount of money that we have in a bank account. We might not ever feel like we're ever really wealthy. And even if we reach the amount that we thought we once wanted or needed, now the carrot stick just moves further up, right? And you need more and you need more. And especially this happens as a business owner because, you think that, oh, a 5K or 10K month is amazing. And then you start to have the expenses that come up with that. And you're like, no, actually I need to make more and more and more. And it's, I think, the same thing for everyone of any person who wants to grow their financial literacy and their wealth. It's there really is always a moving target of what that really means to you. And so I've been thinking about this a lot. I've been doing some money programs. I've been reading a lot of money books lately. Wealth has just been really in my mind right now. And I'm starting to see something so differently than I ever used to see before. And it's something that I've applied in my life at different times, but I didn't really have a name for it. And now that I really see this huge aha I'm having about wealth and money, I just needed to share it with a podcast with you. So some of these ideas might not be completely fully formed yet. I'm kind of expressing it as it goes because it's so, it's blossoming right now in my life. But I was really thinking about what wealth feels like. And at what point can you call yourself wealthy? And, I was having a conversation, I'm not going to name names, but it was basically an older couple that my husband and I know who have what you would think is a lot of money, right? And, they've obviously saved, they've obviously worked really hard to get to that point, but they still act very poor. They still act like they can't afford a lot of things, or that, oh, this is too expensive, or this is that, when in reality, they have enough money for the rest of their lives. There's no way that they could ever exhaust the amount of money they have, unless they were to buy like a property or a jet or some crazy thing like that. But for all the necessities they have, and even the little luxuries of life, like, they can really afford everything. And so it's really interesting that wealth isn't necessarily a reflection of what's in your bank account, right? Because there are people who can feel so abundant with what they have. There's people who feel abundant with $5,000 in their bank account compared to someone who might have $1 million in their bank account. And why is that? And that's the question I've been wrestling with a lot lately, and really trying to understand what my relationship is with that and what wealth really feels like. And I think at the end of the day, wealth really feels like freedom. Wealth feels like freedom and feels like really, really high self-worth. Because if you think about it, money isn't the thing we ever actually want. And I know that might seem counterintuitive, but money itself is made up. Money itself is just something that we've assigned to these papers and these numbers and these plastic cards that society has given value to. And, it's a system of value where basically in the past you would have like sheep, and you wanted to barter sheep with wheat or something like that. And so humans made up money as a way to be able to, account for the value and exchange of the value. And, for a long time it was like seashells and coins and like now paper money. And for most of us, paper money is so devalued. Like, most of us don't have tons of paper money. It's all in a bank account. And our bank account, it's not like the money's actually sitting in that bank or in that investment account or anything like that. It's just numbers on a screen. It literally is just numbers on a screen, right? And it's so trippy to think about that, because if we think about what wealth really feels like, it's not just the assurance that the numbers of the screen are in that, account, or the paper money is in your, is in your wallet. And for example, there's a lot of like money manifestation tips that talk about like seeing money more often, like putting like bills in places, but that doesn't work for me, because I'm like, well, who cares if I have like $100? Like, that's not very much money, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not going to visualize just piles and piles of money, because why would I ever do that? Why would I ever have piles and piles of money? It's all obviously going to be in a bank or an investment account or something like that. And so when we think about what wealth actually feels like, there's these really cool questions, these really cool ways that I've been thinking about it differently lately that have been so helpful for me. And one of the things that I found has been so incredibly helpful is actually something I read in a book called Creating Money many years ago. And I started applying this principle many years ago, and it's only now that I'm really articulating it more and further and deeper. But in this book, they basically asked you to imagine what it would feel like to be really, really wealthy. And you want to think of certain adjectives that describe what it is that you would feel like if you were super wealthy. So imagine what comes up for you is maybe like, okay, well, I'd feel really safe. I'd feel really secure. I'd feel really pampered. I'd feel really gracious. I'd feel free. I'd feel peaceful. So you're just thinking of all these adjectives that would happen if you had all the wealth that you wanted in the world. And now here's the thing, because money is actually made up, you can decide to feel those things today. And it's not necessarily the money that's actually going to make you feel like that. We just think that as a society, because it's almost as if we don't allow ourselves to have the things that we really want until we reach a certain level of wealth, when really there is probably a more accessible way that you could have the feeling right now. And Tony Robbins oftentimes talks about this too with goals. He thinks goals are beautiful things. Goals are what like shape us into becoming the future version of ourselves. But it's not the achievement of the goal that's going to make you happy. It's who you become in the process, right? And when you think that a goal is going to make you feel a certain way, you have the power to feel like that today, right? And what often happens at the end of it, I think the core of it, is that we don't actually believe that we're worthy enough to feel like that today. And isn't that wild? Isn't that wild that maybe at the end of the day, wealth actually feels like just very high self-worth? That wealth actually feels like freedom. That wealth feels like I deserve to take up space. I deserve to have my needs met at the end of the day. And it's probably not going to be through a private jet or a luxury yacht that you're going to feel like that you can actually make it something that's so much more accessible to you today. So for example, let's go back to the creating money example I just shared. If having a lot of money, having a lot of wealth for you would make you feel certain adjectives, secure, safe, peaceful, pampered, luxurious, gracious, sexy, even maybe beautiful, how could you make yourself feel those things today? And what if we just thought about all the things that have absolutely no cost involved? Like if I want to feel at peace, I could probably just put on a meditation and feel a lot more peaceful at the end of the meditation, couldn't I? If I wanted to feel more beautiful, I could probably put on a nice outfit and do my makeup and go out on the town and just allow myself to really feel into my body and into my skin. If I wanted to feel pampered, I could even just take the afternoon off and read a magazine in the sun. Like some of these things don't even cost money, but we are able to do them in order to create the feeling that we think the wealth would give us. And in that way, couldn't we feel wealthy all the time? Couldn't we make it a point to actually embody this feeling and this self-worthiness of what wealth really feels like? And I think it's so interesting because we just don't do it. And maybe it's because we don't believe that we have the self-worth to do it. Maybe we believe we have to wait in order to do these kinds of things. And maybe we're doing it some of the time and we forget another part of the time. But it's like there's some kind of block that makes us think that I can't live my life the way I really want to live it until I'm massively wealthy, right? And that's a pretty common, understanding of money and wealth and stuff like that. And that's why everybody wants to be more wealthy. I mean, if I said that you won the lottery and you just won $10 million, I'm pretty sure no one would actually refuse that and say, no, thank you, that's not what I want. I mean, money obviously does help things go easier, and it helps you afford more freedom of time, and it helps you have just these beautiful experiences. But I think we're also being delusional sometimes if we think that it's only having a lot of wealth that we get to feel the way we want to feel today. So just imagine that you had $10 million. Now, I'm pretty sure that's a solid amount of money for anybody, unless you are like mad about investing into private jets or yachts or like a ton of real estate properties. $10 million is going to be just fine for the rest of your life, and you're going to feel wealthy for the rest of your life. You can feel rich with that amount for sure. You can feel rich with way less than that, but I just want to make sure I get everyone in the room agreeing with me, right? That you're going to feel wealthy and have like more than enough for the rest of your life. What would change about your life in the small micro details? So for example, how would you take care of your skin differently? Like if you had $10 million in the bank, how would you take care of your skin differently? And sure, you could buy more expensive skincare products. Maybe you could get more facials and stuff like that. Maybe you could have one of those, infrared things on your face. But aren't there small little ways that you could do that today too? Even if those things aren't affordable for someone or for you, can't we still take out the time in our day if we think that the rich version of ourselves would have this beautiful, gorgeous, elaborate skincare routine? Why can't we still have the skincare routine today? And it's almost as if like just taking up the space to really radically take care of yourself is such a threat to the way that we've been raised to stay small and to not take up that space and to not fundamentally take care of yourself. And I think it's really woven into our relationships with alcohol, because alcohol has always been positioned as this quick fix of why you don't deserve to take care of yourself. You don't deserve to meet your needs of feeling confident. You don't deserve to meet your needs of feeling relaxed. Here, have this little Band-Aid. It's going to make it better for 20 minutes, and then you're going to feel like shit afterwards, right? And so I think it's like a really important question as women who identify as sober curious or alcohol free, is like we have to relearn how to take care of ourselves. Probably everybody in society does as well, but that's the fundamental act of self-worth, to actually believe that you deserve the time and effort to do something like that. And, think of it as like, what would you do in your morning routine if you had $10 million in the bank? Would you do your mornings differently? Would you rush less? Would you appreciate more? Would you be more present? Would you, take out the fancy shampoo and actually use it? Would you light a candle while you're doing your makeup? Like, it's fun to visualize because it's like as if the money gives us the permission to actually act the way we wish we acted. It's as if the money gives us permission to do the things that really feel juicy and spacious and pampering. But a lot of the times, it doesn't actually cost more money to do those things. It might just cost more time. And so that's a big dilemma. Obviously, some of us, we all are at the dearth of time, right? We're all super busy. We all have different responsibilities. There's always a lot going on. And so when are we able to actually claim the time for ourselves to take care of ourselves? And the saying, like, Beyonce has the same amount of hours in the day as we all do. So do people like Beyonce just believe that they are more worthy to take care of themselves than people who are running ragged and don't, right? And yes, obviously there's privilege involved, and when you have support and more networks of communities and just the kind of access that obviously wealth can bring you, yes, you will have more time. That's an obvious thing, right? But what if you actually had the time and it's just a matter of watching a Netflix show for doing the skincare routine, or switching, some other mindless thing, scrolling social media, to actually doing the thing that feels like it does take the self-worth to do. And I just find this so curious because fundamentally, wealth feels like self-worth. Wealth feels like I deserve this. I deserve to take care of myself. I deserve to have this experience. I deserve to feel like this. And so I hope this is all coming together in a way that you can see that you deserve to feel like that now. That you don't have to wait for the $10 million in your bank account to ever feel like that. You have the power to feel like that now. And this is an interesting concept that we're definitely going to really focus on in Euphoric the Club. So Euphoric the Club is my brand new membership. I am so freaking excited about this. This has been months in the making, where we are bringing together successful women who don't drink and the women who are becoming them. This is the premier space, the premier alcohol-free space on the internet to truly nourish the alcohol-free body, mind, and soul that fuels your wildest dreams. And it brings together all of the work that I care so deeply about losing the subconscious desire to drink, about unearthing your deepest purpose and having such conviction to go after it, about truly becoming this wealthy version of yourself, no matter what's in your bank account, through the power of the self-worth of nourishing yourself and taking care of yourself. And I was talking to a friend about this because one of the things that we're going to be doing to practice this, it's going to be very somatic. It's going to be somatic in the sense that these are rituals, these are practices that you are going to do on yourself. And they're going to be beautiful, small things that you can do that doesn't take up like a million habits and time in your calendar and all this kind of stuff. It's this elegant layer that you're going to be putting into your life. And so we're going to be doing these monthly challenges that really aren't necessarily just about the wellness aspect or the longevity aspect, or, even though they're scientifically backed and proven, we have all that data for you, it's actually going to be an exercise for you to truly take care of yourself. And with that, we start with flow. And flow is going to be all about lymphatic drainage. And I love this. Just on my fertility journey, I have learned so many different healing modalities, just so many cool practices, so many rituals. I want to come back and share a lot of them that have been just so impactful and worked for me. But lymphatic drainage is all about, noticing that our lymph is something that flows through our body. It's basically the sewer system of our body. It's how we detox. It's like the opposite of our blood. It runs through our body like a liquid, just like blood, but it doesn't have a heart to pump it. So you actually have to use movement and massage to be able to pump it and keep the lymph flowing. And this is definitely really great for your immune system. It's definitely great for cancer preventions and things like that, because like lymphoma, you get it. These are the terms that we use to denote when the lymph isn't working as well as it should. And I think it's so beautiful because it not only is going to, help with inflammation and can help with brain fog and headaches and all that kind of stuff, but it's the practice itself that's also so luxurious, because lymphatic drainage can be all about massaging yourself and also about dry brushing. And there's going to be really special techniques we're going to share with you in the club. And I was thinking about it, I was talking about this with another friend the other day, and it was like, at the end of the day, it's not just about these scientific health or longevity practices that they're all about. There's something so special about a woman who stops at the end of the day, and no matter what's happened, no matter what she just had to do, no matter what crying baby she just had to put to sleep, or all the bills she had to pay, or all the work she had to do that day, or all the other people she had to take care of, there's something so special about a woman who stops and says, I'm going to take 3 minutes, not even 5 or 10, I'm going to take 3 minutes to do this lymphatic drainage massage on myself. And what is that saying for your self-love? What is that saying to your body and to your subconscious about how much you care and how much you love yourself? How much is that saying about that you deserve to take up this space, that you're not here just to run around ragged for everybody else, that you deserve fundamentally to take care of yourself? And again, I love my Mia Health Challenge, but sometimes when it's too complicated and there's too much involved and too much time suck, it's really easy to drop. You know what I mean? And we all know this with like diet culture. When you have to, work out for an hour every day and eat really restrictively, like it just doesn't last. But these are these like small little elegant things that you can do that do last, that you really can devote yourself at least to 30 days of doing, pretty regularly. It doesn't have to be something you do every day. But what beauty is there in saying, I am wealthy, I am worthy, I deserve to feel this good. Anytime I dry brush my skin, it like tingles afterward and I just feel like a goddess and I'm like, oh my God, why don't I do this more often? You know what I mean? And so I want to do it with you. I want to do these things with you where we feel wealthy every day, where we really nourish our emotional health, our physical health, where we feel wealthy based on the way that we take care of ourselves. And I have this feeling that this level of self-care and this level of worth and this level of like juiciness is actually what translates to the real wealth coming in. And obviously physical wealth is everything. Emotional wealth is everything. But for those of you who are like, okay, Carolina, but I'm talking about dollars here in the bank, when you allow yourself to feel like this is what abundance feels like. This is what, when the universe gives you so many gifts and you allow yourself to luxuriate in them, to actually feel their presence, to be so grateful for them, to feel the juiciness of them. Isn't that what feeling abundant is? And everything that we know about law of attraction would just say that feeling like that more of the time is actually what's going to bring the money, the actual hard cash in your life, And so I think it's a really cool test. And I think we will have incredible guest speakers coming in to speak specifically about wealth and challenges specifically about wealth. But what if the secret to wealth is actually raising your emotional wealth and your physical health and wealth, right? And really standing in this version of yourself who's like, I am going to feel the way that a wealthy person would feel because I have the power to do that. That is accessible to me right now. Let me give you some more examples to like really hone this in. So again, let's say you had $10 million in the bank. How would you eat differently? Would you eat differently? Would you buy different food? Would you go out to different restaurants? Now again, I want to make sure that it's still accessible to you today. So maybe it doesn't mean that right now you're going to pick up and go to every single Michelin star restaurant with an $800 tasting menu, right? But is there this beautiful way of just like having strawberries with fresh whipped cream that you would have in the morning or for dessert, like something so special, so luxurious that you can have that's accessible to you literally right now? Is there a certain grocery store that you could go to instead of a different one that makes you feel so much better about shopping at that literally only adds like $10 at the end of the day to the grocery bill? Is there a way that you would prepare food differently? Is there a way that you would eat less processed food? Is there, just thinking about this line of thinking of like, how would the richest version of me act in the smallest micro details of my life, I think is really, really exciting to think about. How would you, take care of your hair differently? How would you organize your closet? How would you organize your bookshelf? How would you, just go about like movement in the day and taking care of a pet or a child? How would you be more present, And again, going back to the really amazing prompt that I learned in Creating Money a long time ago of just thinking through what are the emotions that a large sum of money in your bank account would make you feel? And then really just journaling on how can I replicate that emotion right now within my power, something that is accessible to me today. And I think this way of thinking is how we bring true wealth into the world. And I'm going to do it myself because I told you in the beginning, I'm not always 100% in my abundance game, right? I have such deep scarcity in my family lineage, so much frugality, You know, my grandma drank from puddles and sucked on flour to survive World War II. Like, just the hardships that my family has gone through and that how that's been passed down and how we look at things and think about things, like those undercurrents are still there. I can feel scarcity. I can feel the fears. I can feel all of that. Like, am I doing it okay? Even though my business makes enough, you know, am I spending it right? Am I investing right? Like, all of that stuff still comes up for me. I'm still a human, right? But I'm going to go on an experiment with you in Euphoric the Club on how I can feel wealthy with you. How together we can come together as successful women who don't drink and the women who are becoming them, right? So this club is perfect for you whether you're sober curious or alcohol free. It is going to go so deep into losing the subconscious desire for drink and unearthing your deepest purpose and getting such deep conviction. We have such cool masterclasses, so many incredible guest experts, so many somatic practices we'll be teaching. We have bar classes. I cannot wait. Bar is my favorite. That is what a wealthy woman does. She does bar classes, right? It is my favorite workout. Like, I hate the kind of workouts where you do it one day and then you're so sore that you can't even move for the rest of the week. And it's not like I hate it. Obviously, it's like fun in the moment, but it just makes me feel like, oh shoot, like now I can't keep it up. Bar doesn't feel like that. Bar is like all about elongating your muscles and really building strength in a feminine way. And it's just my favorite workout. We're bringing you bar classes in the club so that you can feel that luxurious and that wealthy on a day-to-day basis, right? We'll have live ones, we'll have replays. Like, it's just going to be a vibe, right? And I think it's just so fun to think through when we're in this club together, how can we all really just elevate our sense of emotional wealth, our sense of feeling, our sense of taking care of ourselves. We're going to have coaching hours so you feel so spaciously guided, so you feel that any block is coming up for you, whether it's around alcohol, whether it's around your purpose, whether it's around business, is fully supported and guided. And I'm just so excited that I can finally bring this to you at such a low cost. You know, when you're first starting your business, sometimes you need to have premium pricing in order to make money and in order to build a business in the first place. And at this point in my career, in my life, like, we are able to give this back, essentially. We are able to put so much resources and so many experts and so much of different people's times and expertise into this incredible club, this incredible membership, and it's only going to be $59 a month. Like, come on, right? That is the Pioneer member rate, and you better jump on that because it will go up, and you will be forever branded as a Pioneer member when you jump in at that rate. You will forever have that rate, no matter if it goes up and not in the future. And you get some really cool exclusive bonuses and trainings when you come in as a Pioneer. Like, it is definitely what you want to do because we are forming a revolution here, you guys. This is a revolution of successful women who don't drink. A successful posse of people who know that putting aside alcohol is part of their life purpose to live into the legacy that they are here to share with the planet. And I don't know any other group, membership, club, any other thing that's doing something like that. Because, you know, obviously there's support groups and there's things around there out there, but to bring this level, this caliber of emotional wealth and nourishment and wellness challenges and just understanding we're all here because we have such a big purpose and we are elegantly making alcohol the smallest part of our lives. Like, you won't feel like that anywhere else. You won't feel infantilized in this club. You won't feel disempowered. You are here because you know this is the most powerful thing you're ever doing. And whether that means that you're sober curious and you're ready to finally take a break from alcohol, whether that means that you kind of go back and forth, that would be really great for you as well. Or even if you're solidly in a break or alcohol free, like, this is that next level nourishment to expand in your self-worth. Because I've seen this so many times before, and this was so important on my journey as well, is that oftentimes people, and I think this is probably generalized across all of society, but especially when someone ditches alcohol, their life gets better. Their life gets better, right? Their emotional, like, wealth gets better. They're just so much more resilient. They feel better moods. They're so much more productive. Like, life is getting better. However, there's this upper limit. There's this upper limit, and I've talked about this before on the podcast, and you've probably heard of this concept. Gay Hendricks has been on the podcast to talk about the upper limit. He is the creator of or terminology, basically, but it's, you know, a phenomenon that we'll all face, where your life gets better and better and better, and then you hit the ceiling of how much your self-worth will allow you to have. And then all of a sudden, things get hard. All of a sudden, you don't feel worthy of certain things. All of a sudden, you might sabotage yourself. All of a sudden, it's hard to run a business, or all this kind of stuff comes up. And I think it's so important to recognize that you have to break past that upper limit. You have to expand what your self-worth believes you deserve. And your self-worth is like a level, you know, and it's probably down here when you're a teenager and you're in your 20s, and it gets to grow higher and higher as you get older, and it grows more when you let go of alcohol. But it's like there is still a ceiling, and you can still expand and expand and expand, and it will feel so much more joyous, so much more like luxuriating in life. And I wish I was someone who literally was just so present and grateful for every moment of my life. I don't think that's possible. We're going to go through really negative and hard emotions. Sometimes we will feel apathetic. Sometimes we'll be bored. Sometimes the littlest things will rub us the wrong way. But I want to remember, I want to be the type of person who remembers how to get back into that state of feeling so beautifully expectant and just so enraptured with the present moment. And that is what we're going to do in the club. Join us for our wellness challenges. Join us for our bar classes. Join us for our coaching. Join us for our guest experts. And guess what? When you join the club, especially as a Pioneer member, you're going to get first dibs on being a guest expert yourself. So if you have a practice or a ritual, or you are a business owner or a practitioner or service provider, and you want to share a special gift with us, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see that. And I know a lot of 5X certified coaches are coming in to do so. So we can't wait to share the gifts, share the love, and have such an empowering space of successful women who don't drink and the women who are becoming them that is quite unlike any sober space on the internet, that is unlike any purpose-based space, any entrepreneurship-based space on the internet. Like, this is the next level of luxuriating in your self-worth and really developing it and feeling wealthy every single day. And I almost played with calling the club a different name. And I thought of calling it actually the Sober Millionaire. And I did buy the domain for that, so it's mine now, guys. But I decided not to go for it because I think that the Sober Millionaire would denote too much of like money right up front, too much of maybe entrepreneurship, too much of like the business building right up front. And I think that I want the club to have a different feeling. I want to feel that way, right? Not necessarily be only stressing over the strategy to do that. And so it's so cool if you are in my other programs, if you're in my 5X certification or my Thought Leader Mastermind or things like that, you're learning a lot of that strategy and you're implementing a lot of that stuff, but it's only going to take you so far if you don't allow yourself to also feel wealthy and feel just so held and pampered through your own self-care and through the way that you take care of your needs first and foremost, right? We've all heard that saying that, you know, when the airplane's going down, you got to put your oxygen mask on first, and it's overplayed and it's overdone. But how different would we act to other people if we were truly so grounded in that worthiness to take care of every single one of our needs first? And it isn't just about skincare, and it isn't just about self-massage, but it's like those things are the examples of the rituals of how you show yourself somatically that you matter, that you're relevant, that you deserve to feel beautiful, that you deserve to take up space, that you deserve to have a big purpose, that you deserve to be wealthy, that you deserve to have freedom from alcohol. I can't wait to see you in the club. We start June 2nd. Everyone who joins in the month of May will forever be branded a Pioneer member with special bonuses, special discounts, special credits. Like, I'm so excited for it. It is going to be the best club, the best experience on the planet, on the internet, because there's no place like it. There's no place like it that is combining these passion pillars of purpose and alcohol-free living and absolute nourishment for your self-worth ever. So get in soon because you don't want to miss anything. We will close the club. I know I'm leaving for Europe, I think June something, so we need to close it. We can't keep it open, so do be sure you get in sooner than later. Get yourself set up, get your dates on the calendar, join us for our bar classes. It's going to be such a vibe, such an experience, and you definitely want to get in for the Pioneer member rate as well. Only $59. Also, you can cancel anytime. It is a membership, it is a club, so if you join in and you're feeling into it, and you don't use it, or you have to go on a trip or something like that, just let my team know. But I have a feeling that you're going to find a new home there. You're going to find your community. You're going to find your new best friends. I can't wait. Like, I know the coolest people basically on the planet, and I can't wait for you all to get to know each other because that's how I feel about you. And I can't wait to bring this community together, and the friendships that are going to form, and the cross-country trips that are going to happen to see each other, and just such an empowering space of successful women who don't drink and the women who are becoming them. It's just going to lift everybody up and hold a whole new standard. It's basically a revolution, and I'm inviting you to join me. go check out becomeeuphoric.com/club to get all your details to enroll. We also have the option to join for a yearly rate. So if you want to save some money, joining for the yearly rate is actually going to save you. I think it's 2 months free that way. And we also have the option for VIP coaching. So if you're looking for a coach and you don't want to spend multiple $1,000s right now on a coach, because obviously most coaches are premium packages and they do charge in the multiple thousands of dollars, you can get your own coach for just $200 a month through Euphoric the Club. It is such a steal. I pay so much more than that for my personal coach, and I just want to make it so much more accessible for everyone to be able to raise their self-worth. Because at the end of the day, coaches can help you achieve all these different kinds of outcomes. At the end of the day, though, really, what a coach will always do is help you raise your self-belief and your self-worth. And that is such an incredible investment to make. And whatever goal you have, you'll have your coach to be able to work on that, to be able to create that outcome in your life. So I'm so excited. There's very limited spots for the VIP option though, you guys. So be sure if you want to get the VIP option, it's an extra $200 a month, which is just for coaching is ridiculously, accessible. I hope you take advantage of it. And I will see you in the club. We start June 2nd. I cannot wait. I hope this episode got you thinking in a new way. I'm going to keep coming back to this topic because it's something that is just really evolving for me naturally and something I'm thinking a lot about. Credit to all the amazing teachers that I've had on money and wealth and money mindset, because I'm sure there's a lot of things I said that I've, taken from other places at one time or point, and then also been able to, form my own opinions about it and bring it together in a really concrete way for you. So I am standing on the shoulders of giants, and there's some really incredible books that I recommend in this area. So if you want that list, be sure to DM me on Instagram at euphoric.af, and I will give you a book recommendation. And I'll see you in the club, babe.